Two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Delusions of Grandeur, where I have my good friends Boris, Kroll, and my fiance Tammy, where we are going to be discussing a film that was suggested from our good friend Kroll, who has disappeared into the valley to bring back his girl. So, why don't we go into what IMDb says about the film first? So IMDb says Julie, a girl from the valley, meets Randy, a punk from the city. They are different worlds and find love. Somehow they need to stay together in spite of her trendy, shallow friends. And there he is. I told the audience that you went back into the valley to get your girl. But I just
why are you doing this to me?
But I just went through what IMDb said about it, but I'll repeat it.
Fuck
Julie,
you. Fuck off. Fuck them.
Julie, a girl from the valley, meets Randy, a punk from the city. They are from different worlds and find love. Somehow they need to stay together in spite of her trendy, shallow friends. Well, first of all,
I want to say he was a punk.
first of all, why don't you tell us how you went about and picked and chose your movie?
Well, I decided that I wasn't sure. There was a bunch of movies I was rolling around in my head, horror movies, comedies, you name it, older, new ones. There was a bunch that I had thought about, and I was like, damn, I can't decide what I want. So I'm like, you know what? Let's do something interesting. And I took an 8-sided die, and I decided to give it properties from 1940 to 2010, and I rolled a 4, which was 1980s. So I decided I would choose a movie from 1980s. So then I chose a 6-sided die, picked 5 genres, thinking if I got a 6, I just re-roll, and I got romantic comedies. So it would be a romantic comedy from 1980s, which there was a lot of good ones. Now a friend of mine said you should make it a movie you haven't seen yet, and I'm like, good idea. So I looked up, romantic comedies of the '80s, best ones, and looked over the list and found 3 movies that I hadn't seen that looked interesting, and decided then I would roll the die one more time to see which of the 3. So I rolled another 6-sided, given both movies 2 numbers each, and we got Valley Girl from 1982.
Isn't it 1983?
82.
IMDb says 83, if I
So does
remember correctly.
Wikipedia. So it's 1983.
Okay, so I guess Wiki and my TV is wrong.
I don't know. I just remember what it says on IMDb.
I just know what I read when I chose the movie. It said 1982. I also said that on the TV.
Well, whether it's 1982 or 1983,
It could be a matter of
also,
where you're at too, because
it's
like
also known as Bad Boys.
Star Wars was out in 1976 in California, but it didn't come out here until 1977. So, and there's other movies, but I always have to mention Star Wars.
And it is a film that is directed by Martha Coolidge, and it stars Nicolas Cage, Deborah Foreman, Michelle Mayrink, Elizabeth Daily, Cameron Dye, and Michael Bowen, among others. So, why don't we go into our first impressions and see what people thought of them? So, because this was your pick, Kroll, uh, what was your impression of this film?
Oh yes, it is the first time I saw the film. As I mentioned, I hadn't seen it previous. Yeah, it was fun. Little decent movie. Um, Brought me back memories. Definitely felt like a movie made in the '80s, not made a movie made to resemble the '80s, um, because they didn't have a lot of '80s cliche stuff too much. I mean, there was because it was the '80s, but you know, there's a lot of cliches you see in movies that are made later and try to bring back the '80s. Um, the hairstyles were definitely '80s. Bracelets, those rubber bracelets, man, those things everybody had. Boys, girls, everybody used them. I had a couple. Black and red ones. It was just a thing that you didn't need. Everybody will leave a bunch of bracelets hooked together and stuff. They were just rubber bands, basically, colored rubber bands. Um, I didn't notice that when they were looking at the bracelets in the store at the beginning. The Valley Girls. Um, the friend, that friend was something else. I thought she was gonna end up with his friend because, you know, she seemed like she was almost warming up to him a little bit, like when they kissed and stuff. But
Oh, you're talking about the blonde that got molested in the bedroom? Yeah.
no, no, no. I'm talking about the brunette friend that was in the car with her, and I thought she was gonna end up um, with his friend,
Ah,
which
gotcha. Yeah.
which
The
I can't remember his name. It was
the
something
goofy
weird.
friend.
Yeah, which I've seen him in a lot of movies. Too. Which I can't think of his name, but anyways, yeah, it was a decent little film, and like I said, I like the hairstyles and now the clothes were a little bit different, but again, this is also California, so they were probably more California clothes styles than what I'm used to being on the East Coast.
Yeah, his friend's name is Fred, but he was played by the actor Cameron Dye,
Yeah, I don't know the name, but I definitely know the face.
who evidently played in Andy in the last Starfighter.
Nice.
And what's interesting is, did you notice that there was a song by Men at Work?
Yeah.
Well, there was he was an actor in the movie Men at Work. So, um,
Nice.
I thought that was kind of interesting. But
Sometimes you get interesting stuff like that. Yeah, overall, it was a decent movie. Wasn't any kind of life changing or anything. I had some funny moments. Had some nice titties. Like a lot of '80s movies. They don't even. They never even. It's like you don't even have to have a reason. Like, oh, show some titties here. Why? Because girls, people like titties. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's how it was. Which I love. They don't do that much anymore, but it was great. We'd never know when you're gonna see them.
yep. So heading over to you, Tammy. Was this a first time watch for you?
Help gag me.
Gag me with a spoon.
it
President
was
said that.
it was fun. It was, interesting, I mean, Kroll understands too. We grew up in the '80s, so yeah, there a lot of it was, yeah, okay, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. You know, but yeah, it was cute. It was fun.
Okay. Was this a first time watch for you?
Yeah.
Okay. And
I probably, if I would have came across it, seen Nicolas Cage was in it, I probably would have went, oh, okay, I'll check that out because I know him as as an actor. So if I was just looking for something to watch and it popped up, I probably would have been, okay, Nicolas Cage, 80s type of thing. Sure, why not?
But what about when it first came out?
I,
Before you even knew who Nicolas Cage was,
she was not a
well,
Valley girl, so
right? But would you have watched it?
she wasn't exactly the type to go see a movie like Clueless or Legally Blonde or
Hey,
well,
those
things
movies
like
are
that.
great.
I wouldn't have, no, I wouldn't have gone to see, I would not have gone to see it because, like, in the 80s, no. I went to see, like, Total Recall and I went to go see The Serpent and the Rainbow and things like that.
I watch these kind of movies. Like I might rent it or I'd watch it on TV. I would definitely not go to the theater. Yeah, theaters are for big movies, not comedies usually.
I mean, if
Plus,
I had a, I had a couple friends that were girls in school, a couple. And if we would have gotten together, like, and wanted to be a girls' night and watch a movie, I probably would have watched it. But I didn't do much of that girls' night thing, anyways. But you know,
Oh, the girls sitting around in their underwear having a slumber party, trying on their mother's like dirtiest underwear.
they were clean.
Well, I know they were clean, but like trying
Uh,
on the baby doll stuff. Although it
Funniest
would be
story
cool
was
if they would have tried it on while not being over their clothes.
well, yeah, most of my friends were guys, and we didn't have slumber parties.
well, yeah, they would be even more disturbing if they did that with underwear.
Okay.
Well, I have heard of some guys who do that too.
Yeah.
And I don't
Um,
think I would have been able to stay over at any of my guy friends' houses like a slumber party. That, yeah, I don't think I know.
I actually saw Ghost in the theaters because my friend wanted to get laid. We went to the movies and I can't remember what was out that we were gonna see, but it was some kind of action movie. And we see two girls we knew, and he's like, "Oh, what are you seeing?" And they're like, "Ghost," and he's like, "Oh, we had two." I looked at him like, "What?" What the fuck? So we ended up going. I mean, I ended up loving the movie, but definitely not something I would go to the theaters for, especially at 16. So, funny story.
But yeah, it was a fun movie.
Heading over to you, Boris. Was this a first time watch for you?
Yes, it was the first time, and well, I can see why this movie would evoke memories to someone who lived through the 80s or who was born in the 80s. But since I wasn't, and so there was nothing in this movie that I would remember from my own past. So I have to say, no hard feelings to anyone, but I didn't really enjoy this movie so much.
I
First,
could see that.
because sorry, what did you say?
I could see that.
Uh, well, thank you for understanding. Generally, it's not quite a topic I would personally go for, but okay, that's not so bad. There was something later on in the story that I thought was plain stupid on the part of the main female character, but we will get into that later. It was something I just
It
couldn't.
was typical though.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was typical in the '80s for
It
girls.
was, it was it was typical for her to get
ah,
peer pressured by her friends to drop her boyfriend or whatever. Like that was the thing. that was not really a made up thing. That was a thing that
It was a
Oh,
thing if you were into those little clicky click
because
things.
she
I
was the
wasn't.
popular girl. Her group is the popular girls, and she wants to be with this outsider that not even goes to this school. Never
uh,
mind,
Well, I understand that a lot even more too because I was in foster home at the time, and my foster sister was a year younger than me, and she was the cheerleader and the popular and the going out with the jock and all that stuff. So she fit totally into this whole clique thing. And I remember her talking about, my friends this, my friends that, and I remember looking at her going, "Well, what do you want to do? What do you think? Who cares what they think? Who cares what they want to do? What's what you want to do?" Because I
that's what
was
her
never like
father
that.
said.
I
uh,
wasn't like that. I wasn't into the clicky thing or whatever. And if my friend didn't like my boyfriend, well, tough shit. Learn how, then you don't have to hang around with
right.
us. You know?
Yeah, so
Exactly.
you both obviously figured out what problem I had with the main girl. Yeah, that's exactly it. That
Posing
she
for
was.
bros.
Uh, Sorry, what?
I said
Hose before
hose
bros.
before bros.
Oh.
But see, my foster sister, she totally fit into that groupie thing and all that junk. And I wasn't like that. You know, I got
Mm.
along with everybody. I had friends that were preppies and jocks and all their and I got along with like everybody, but I didn't fit into like any group and I didn't go follow, you know. The only thing I followed is some of the people I hung around with the most, you know, they liked like most of the people I hung out with like Metallica and Zeppelin and Megadeth for music and some of the 80s hair bands. I sure didn't tell any of them that I liked Madonna. Okay? or
Well, on
I dared anybody to say shit that I liked Madonna because you know what? Madonna was fucking hot and I had a crush on her forever. So I didn't give a
but you
shit
know
if
what I'm
people knew I
saying?
liked
So
Madonna.
in a way, I guess I did, in a way, do some of the clicky stuff. But in the music wise, it was just there was
I
certain bands and stuff I wasn't gonna bring up that I liked around certain people.
I totally get that. I mean, I hung around the headbangers
For the most part, me
area,
too.
and if you sat there and said, I love Bon Jovi, which they were one of my favorite bands, you know, I would have been outcasted.
Right. See, my
you
foster
know?
sister was in love with Bon Jovi. Now, if I would have told now if you brought Bon Jovi up around some of the people I hung around, they're like, "What are you, a poser now?" You know?
Right, right. Poser
well,
was a real thing then.
the music I listen to is very various. Like I have a lot of different stuff on my playlist, like from metal to stuff from Celine Dion and so on.
Well,
So
it's totally different now than when we were young. I mean, people were there was cliques. Okay, for in my high school, probably close to the same with Channy too. We had headbangers, we had jocks, we had cheerleaders, we had druggies. Which
yeah.
some of them were headbangers too. But and we had the nerds that don't really fit anywhere. And then there was a couple people that liked rap.
And see, our headbangers, they were called dirts, not
What?
headbangers.
They're called what?
Dirts.
Dirts.
Yeah,
Why dirt?
I don't know. That's just what it was. It was jocks, dirts, preppies, punks,
Oh, I forgot about
and
Purpies.
nerds.
I knew I was getting something. Yeah, Purpies. I forgot about Purpies. I actually started dressing like a Purpie for a little while in high school, even though I was still a headbanger. But I still
It's
had long hair. But I
that
started wearing a turtleneck instead of a t-shirt and flannel shirt. I
Well,
used to
that's
wear
how
like,
I
The
freaked everybody out because one day I would have on my tight ass Jordache jeans and my little they were called gas shoes because on the bottom
right.
you only got them from Kinney stores, and it was the Great American Shoe Stores. What the GASS stood for on the bottom of the shoe. Well, you'd rub off the G part and show everybody your shoe, and it said ass. They were little black suede shoes, tie up shoes. So that
Don't
was the
ever go
thing.
to school with shoes that are not brand name. Then they call them Kmart kickers or Bobos, and you made fun of for the rest of your life.
But see, I would wear, I'd wear my gas shoes and my jeans and my t-shirts one day, my rock shirts, and the next day I'd have a cute little shirt on or sweater and baggier jeans and look all cute. I loved it because I'd freak everybody out because I would dress one way the one day and one way the next day, and it was funny when I would dress like the dirt or whatever they call us. I would go up to my friends that were jocks, and I'd be like, "Hug a jock," and I'd give them a hug, and I looked like I have my jeans and t-shirts on and everything. And then when I was a preppy, I go and embarrass my friends that were dressed like the dirt. I had fun though because I didn't belong in any damn clique or anything else. I did whatever the hell I wanted. And if you didn't want
That's
to talk to me
good.
or didn't want to be friends with me, I didn't care.
Yeah, I pretty much hung out with the headbangers, but
I pretty
um,
much did too, but I
people
had
that were my true friends, they knew my music taste. They knew everything how I really was. I just didn't really talk about the Bon Jovi and regular rock that I like. I like hard rock and soft
right. I
rock
had a
and
few friends that
classic
knew that
rock and old rock and you
I
know
had a few friends that knew everything too. That knew that I was really into Led Zeppelin and Metallica and all that, but you know what? I had Prince at home or I had Madonna, or Bon Jovi stuff. And
I remember a friend of mine. Um, what was it? It was. I was so pissed. Yeah, he broke my NWA tape.
He broke what?
My NWA tape.
I'm so
NWA.
niggers with
N
attitudes.
No whites allowed.
NWA.
Yes, no
Yeah,
whites allowed or niggas with attitudes. That was the name.
Uh, NWA. I have to Google what that stands
They're
for.
it's
rappers.
yeah, they were a rap group.
Original gangster rappers from the 80s.
Yeah, they were black
Ah,
gangster
Straight
rappers.
Outta Compton is the
oh,
album.
sorry for my ignorance.
No
It's all good,
problem.
man. Yeah, you probably recognize the names on some of the people that were in the NWA because they're still popular now.
Well, I know they definitely did a lot of like '80s songs during the film. So
Yeah, I still have not seen that film. I want to see. I mean, you talk about this film. I Straight Outta Compton I want to see, but yeah, I guess we should get back to Valley Girl. We kind of went off on a tangent.
yep.
Well, not to change the subject either. The Valley Girl, the other one. That's what is that? It's more like a musical.
Oh, the reimagining.
That one they do a lot of '80s music in, a lot, a real
Yeah, I
lot.
mean, I guess I'd watch it, but because since it sounds different, because really I would not want to see like a remake or a reboot of this because it's like okay,
I
the
wouldn't.
best part of this
Uh,
is Nicolas Cage being young and having a fucking seagull's haircut.
I wouldn't exactly
it's not
call it
really
a
a.
remake.
It's not really a remake. It's the whole thing
Right,
is
right. I'm saying it. I'm saying if it was like a remake, that it would be pointless because the movie wasn't that good to get a remake.
it's different. It's different how it's done. It's a mother telling her daughter. The mother is Julie, and she's
Oh,
revisiting.
telling her like how she met her, basically like how I met your dad.
Yeah,
How this whole relationship brought her to meeting her dad. So
Right.
Yeah.
It's done. It's done. You see the similarities of what she's saying if you would have seen the first one,
Right.
but it's different.
And it's also from her point of view, which
Right.
is,
But
could
there's
be
a
a
lot
little
of 80s
skewed.
music in that one. A lot.
no more spoilers for this young lad here. He still needs to see it.
Who are you going,
Okay.
young?
How did you know?
I haven't seen it either.
I'm talking about Mr. Flock of Seagulls haircut here. He
Oh,
still has to see it. Too many spoilers.
And who are you calling young? I mean, how can you spoil a movie you've already seen? Yes.
All right, David, your turn.
This was a first time watch for me. Um,
oh, even for you.
yeah. It was on my list to, I guess, eventually see, but it's not one that I would have gone out of my way to see. Maybe eventually I would have probably like some of the younger Nicolas Cage movies I have not seen. I have not seen the one where he was a vampire. I haven't seen um the Wild at Heart. I haven't seen that one, which I know he was in.
Which one
And,
was he a vampire?
trying to remember, but it was it was it was a crazy role from what I understand.
Ah,
That sounds interesting.
That's doesn't say much for Nicolas Cage. Crazy role.
Well, he did a lot of crazy roles when he was younger. So I
Vampire's
think
Kiss.
it was
Vampire's Kiss
Vampire's Kiss was the name of it.
is a horror comedy.
Oftentimes you'll find it on a double feature with Once Bitten.
1988. I love Once Bitten.
So
Maybe it would have been better if
I-
you had chosen
well,
that
Jim
one for
Carrey
us.
was
I haven't seen that one. Well, this is a horror comedy. I had to choose a romantic comedy. Actually, didn't have horror comedy in one of the genres, unfortunately. Had horror, had comedy, but didn't have horror comedy.
but I enjoyed it. I mean, I get that, a Valley Girl is to me the definition of a Valley Girl is the fact that oftentimes she's from a rich family. Oftentimes she
Not
has
always.
a cliche of girls around her that all they do is talk shopping, girls, and the next nail polish remover that they're going to pick up,
My
So,
ex-fiance was a valley girl, but she lived in the valley. That's where her grandmother lived, and her grandmother raised her. But other than that, that was probably the only similarities. Is that she actually lived in the valley, so technically she was a valley girl, but she wasn't a valley girl like a valley girl.
and
Although
oftentimes
she did do cheerleading.
it's preferred to girls that live in California.
Yeah, down in the valley of California. Yeah, that's where she's from.
So, but this is kind of like a story between like two people who just came from different backgrounds, and
opposites attract.
Like every other romantic movie ever.
I mean, it does happen. I mean, it as you can see, in many different cases.
It's almost
Where
always the girl. It's always the girl that's rich and the boy that's poor. Sometimes
Like
it's
I
the other
said,
way, but not
opposites
often.
attract.
Yep.
They say so, at least.
It's true.
What do you think?
Hey.
David and I are alike?
No.
Yep.
No, I wasn't really thinking about you too, just generally. Okay, sometimes maybe opposites do attract, but I also know.
You take a magnet and take the opposite magnet, and you can't get them apart. But you flip them around the other way, and you can't put them together.
Um,
I mean, like when I met David, my mom was used to me liking the bad boys, you know,
Oh,
and she
Dave's not a bad boy. Look at him with his no sleeves shirt.
when I so when I told her I met David, she right away, how long is his hair? How many tattoos does he have? Does he have anything pierced? And when I told her no to all of it, she goes, "Well, what's wrong with him?"
and then you had to give him a big list.
No, I told her I was older, and she goes, "Oh, that's it."
I had long. Get this. I had long hair. My mother loved my long hair. As a matter of fact, when she got remarried again, the third time, I was much older, and she wanted me. I wanted to get a haircut, and she's like, "Oh, wait till after the wedding." So unlike most mothers are the opposite way. My mother wanted me to have long hair. I'll have longer hair.
Interesting.
Very
Well,
weird.
my mom was used to me liking the bad boys, so it's like that's why I say opposites attract.
I had long
Sometimes.
hair and tattoos, but I was not a bad boy. And I had a leather jacket too,
And the funny thing
but
was,
still wasn't a bad boy.
he had to describe me to his mom, and I'm the one with the tattoos.
Got a bad girl there, bad girl.
Oh.
I have 4.
Nothing wrong with bringing a
Oh.
bad girl home, just so long, just so long as they don't stay around too long, right? But anyways, I guess
What?
we don't exactly condone of
Yeah,
that
control.
cliche. We've been together 14 years and we've been happy.
Yeah,
Whoa.
but the fun part was the first time I met them, it was the summer days, so I had shorts on and a tank top, which means you could see all of my tattoos. Because I got one on my back shoulder, and I got 2 on one leg and 1 on another. And his mom walked around me and looked at them all, and she goes, "Oh, okay." Well, none of them are offensive. They're all. I've got a Pegasus, a unicorn, a rose, and then on my back is a, a Pegasus is a unicorn and a dragon together in a shield.
Of course, when I
Oh,
told
well.
my dad
Yeah,
that
that's
I was
awesome.
going to move in with you, he slapped the shit out of me.
Wow. Why?
Ah,
Yeah,
well,
moving in with that tattooed harlot.
Oh.
no,
Oh my.
the apartment that I was living in, I was still in on a lease with him, on the names.
Uh,
But my dad's first reaction to most things when it comes to me is hitting me. So
Oh.
Get mad, calm down later.
yeah, his initial reaction was to slap me or something like that.
But
So
now, 14 years later, I'm definitely part of the family. So
so he slaps you now?
he doesn't slap me anymore more, but
No, I was joking. I said, she's Tammy said she's part of the family. I said, oh, so he smacks you now?
I don't think he would actually try to ever hit me. I think he,
Yeah,
I
I
think
know. I
he'd
was
be.
I was I was joking because what was
I
being
think he'd
no,
said.
be
they
afraid that I'd
actually
hit
get
him back.
along.
I think he'd be afraid that I'd hit him back.
Well, actually, no hard feelings to anyone, but I would say he deserved to get hit back.
I actually had a friend. His father used to beat on him and his sisters, and my friend started taking different forms of martial arts and stuff. And his father went to swing at him, and just out of pure reaction, my friend ducked down and came up with an uppercut and knocked his father flat on his ass. And
Ah,
that was the last time.
finally.
That was the last time he ever touched my friend. My friend felt super bad. Like he told me, I was like, hell yeah. He goes,
Hell
but
yeah, I
I
would
could, I
say
could,
the same.
I saw his face, and he was so upset, and like, dude, he had it coming.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but my dad and my relationship has not always been the greatest. So, um, oftentimes he would take to hitting me more than talking to me. But our relationship has gotten better over time. So,
Well,
That's
at
good.
least that.
Yes, it's gotten better. As in the time that I've been part of the family, I can see that it's definitely gotten better.
but
Sounds like it.
back to the movie. But yeah, I liked the situation that was going on. I mean, it's kind of weird to see Nicolas Cage younger because and he's acting like a total weirdo, you know. And
Yeah.
I kind of like when he's acting like a total weirdo, somewhat.
I didn't find him being a weirdo at all in this movie.
Well, he was being
Raising Arizona, he was a weirdo.
well, he was being kind of a weirdo.
I don't think so.
He was being an uh feeling out of place shy guy. You know, he really liked
He
her.
wasn't all that shy. He walked right over to her, and then in the bathroom walked over her again, and then said, "Let's get out of here." You know, so
Well,
he was definitely not shy.
yeah. But let's get into the plot line. The film starts with a conversation with you know, the Valley Girl and her
Julie.
girlfriends. Yeah, Julia. And her friends are gathered at their local cafe that they end up going to. I think it's in the mall, if I remember correctly, because they
What is the very first scene? Is the montage in the store?
yeah,
Where they're
because
looking at
they're shopping.
the bracelets and the clothes, and yeah, they're putting looking at all the clothes and laughing and
Yeah,
stuff.
a typical shopping trip for a girl because she's got nothing better to do but them spend. uh, and afterwards they end up in the mall cafe, and that ends up being like the place that they often tend to meet. I think too.
Yeah,
But they're talking about boys,
about
and she's talking about and Julie. She's talking about how she's kind of bored with Tommy,
and
and
Tommy's bitching.
uh, uh, in fact, Tommy has forgotten to call her a couple of days.
Um,
So she wouldn't mind a new man in her life, and she's eyeing like this dude across the way, and her girlfriends say, "Hey, well, why don't you invite him to the party that I'm having?" Um,
You say
you
every girl will be there.
And so in the next scene, they're at the beach, and they're eyeing all the cute guys and stuff. And one of them just so happens to be Nicolas Cage in his buff little beef shorts. And
And they were really eyeing Nicolas Cage.
yeah, they're really eyeing
Which is funny because later they were like, "Oh, you can't date him," but when he was half naked, they were like, "Ooh, he's hot."
oh yeah, good point.
and they notice each other there, both of them, and that's kind of a moment because his friend Fred is goes and stands in line and waits for something. I think it's like drinks or something like that, and he overhears like that cute blonde chick. That's one of Julie's friends. I need to figure out her name because she was really damn cute.
Nice tits. That's her name.
No. I believe it may be. Yeah, I think it's Elizabeth Daily who plays Lauren. Because Lauren and Stacy and Susie are the other friends of hers.
Yeah, Susie's the one that was in the car that basically was double dating them.
Yeah, which we'll get to that. But Fred overhears this address.
Not Fred. Fred's
party.
the main character.
I think Nicolas Cage's name was Randy in this movie.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's
his
fine.
name was Randy.
I was just thinking the name is Flock of Seagulls.
Well, maybe I'll just refer to Nicolas Cage as Flock of Seagulls haircut guy. Since you brought that up earlier, but yeah. So he overhears the address in the party, and so he goes over to his friend and says, "Hey, I heard about this cool party where these cool chicks are going to be at. I saw the chicks, you know." And so he's talking up how they should go to this party.
The Valley. I don't want to go to the Valley.
So basically, they end up crashing in on this party. And I know that it is at not Susie's house.
No, not Susie.
That's Stacy's house.
That's
Stacy's
Stacy's
house.
house. And
Yeah.
her mom and father are there. That's an interesting couple because apparently is the mom single?
Yeah.
Okay, because it looked like she had like a father figure there, but then she was eyeing that one dude that Susie.
Yeah, the one, the same one that Susie liked. She was eyeing. Yeah.
But apparently those two hit it off during the party. Meanwhile, while that's going on, I believe Julie and her friend Stacy are eyeing the guys at the party. Apparently, Tommy is there, and actually,
Makes a scene.
before or after this party that he ends up, he ends up inviting her to the prom.
That's way after.
Okay.
Yeah, because at the party she had already broken up with him at the mall.
Yeah.
And so,
That's right. And he's like, "Oh, you'll come back to me."
Right, and then he's like said to his friends, "Oh, she wants me. She'll be back." And after she totally blew him off, and
yeah, because it's at this party that he's dancing with this African American chick.
well, but then he goes upstairs and he's with the blonde girl,
Lauren.
He's with Lauren, and she keeps saying, well, "What about what's her name?"
Yeah, she's
Julie.
a little tipsy.
So many names to remember. What
So
about
he gets
Julie?
her
And he's like, "Julie,
top
don't
off
mean." And she's like, "Okay," and then he kisses her, and he ends up, getting her top open, and
and
then he ends up
those
with
two
getting
have
the
been
bra
together
open,
before.
and then he says the worst, stupidest thing in the world.
Well,
And then he tells her, "Oh, I won't tell anyone if you don't." First thing he does is tell his friends, which we already knew he was going to.
And I felt bad for her just a little bit because she really wanted to get back with him, I guess.
I don't think she was ever with him.
It was mentioned that them two were together before.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah, he just used her to fucking fool around with a little bit, and get a little tit action,
Yeah, and meanwhile, the Fred and Randy end up crashing the party, and everyone looks at them as soon as they come in.
Yeah, because they're different.
Because Fred, he's got like, I don't think it's blue at this moment, but it's
No, it's
kinda
not blue yet.
purple,
Light purple.
like a red, dye to his hair, and he's got this as you
Oh,
say flock of seagulls haircut,
yeah,
And
Nicholas
he's got
Cage
all
has a
these
flock of
which
seagulls
is a
chains.
haircut.
beach blonde
He didn't
spike,
have different. He didn't really
basically.
have different color hair, but he definitely had a flock of seagulls haircut, and that definitely wasn't their scene.
And he
Um,
had all these chains on and everything. He just kind of, yeah, looked out of place.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Nicholas Cage, Randy, he didn't look that out of place with what he was wearing, his, but Fred really looked out of place.
yeah. Fred definitely. It was funny they were both wearing black and red though, so their outfits were similar. You notice Randy was wearing what do you call it? Suspenders too, the red suspenders. They almost blended into the outfit, but if you look, you can see it. And his outfit was really weird.
but it's definitely one of those moments where okay, these people should not be here, kind of moment.
Right. Oh, obviously knew they were crashing.
uh, uh, they
Uh,
obviously were not invited. In fact, there was a moment where she's like, Julie,
Well, right before you get to that, you should say how they saw each other, because
yeah, they
they're
saw
both looking at it. They're both looking at each other, and then he tells his friend, "Oh, I think the other girl winked at you to get rid of him, so he could walk over to her," and he does, and then tells them, "Oh, they met before," and she doesn't remember that. She doesn't realize it was the guy she was looking at on the beach, and then he tells her, and then she's like, "Oh, that was you." And so that's when they get together, and they're talking, and he talks about, she's like, you're crashing, and he goes, oh, if I'd gotten an invite, I would have known it was a costume party, because everyone's dressed, and it was pretty funny. And and then like I said, they were hitting it off, and of course her ex gets all bent out of shape because she's talking to him and having a good time, so he has to go ruin it. And he comes over and punches them, and his two friends grab him and hold his arm so he can't defend himself or anything.
and
And
they notice Fred, his friend is
not
still
yet,
in the
not yet.
room.
And then they beat beat him up more, toss him outside, and then they come back in and they see Fred there, and they just kind of grab him and toss him outside too, and they're like, "Yeah, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you off," and blah blah, blah, and they leave, and they're driving away, and first she's looking out the window, and he's like, she's something else, and she's like, yeah, but she's not one of our girls. And then she shuts the blind, and they drive off, and then next you see him stopping the car and slowing out, and
Turn it around and
then he gets in the driver's seat, and the dude's like, my mom freak out. She finds out you're driving my car and driving her car, and he's like, I don't care at this moment. He's like, I'm going back there, he's like, why are you going in there? I don't have a death wish. And then of course, after
he's actually
he
in the
peeping toms
bathroom
on
for some time,
a few
actually.
girls having their breasts out with her, making out with someone, and then talks to her again, and
Well, yeah, there's
she's
obviously
like, what do you want,
well,
a death wish? And he's like, that's what
I,
Fred said.
I kind of felt like he was contradicting himself a bit before he left. Like when Tommy approached him and said and told him to leave. First, he was like, "Okay, make me," but the first punch he received, he just left instead of fighting back.
Well, it was 3 against 1. It's a little bit different, you know. It's not
Uh,
like it was not like when he was in uh, Con Air, where he was a badass fucking fighter.
it's probably the first time that he's ever been to the valley.
I'm
Uh,
sure 1-on-1 he would have kicked his ass, but it wasn't 1-on-1. It was at least 3-on-1, and who knows if somebody others would have jumped in there. Like when they all chased him later in a different scene, there was like 20 of them at the prom. So who knows how many more would have jumped in um,
oh,
on it. So I get it. Pick your fights, and not when it's at least 3-1 is not a fight you want to pick.
Wait, was there someone with Tommy? I forgot.
Yeah, he had like several bodyguards that seemed to be like his buddies because he's a jock. He's a football player.
Ah,
So
So the whole team is gonna back him up.
he's got a whole bunch of dudes that would do his dirty work if he wanted them to, but he could
Yeah.
definitely wrangle and wrestle like anybody else. He wasn't a douchebag who would just let his buddies kick some ass,
oh,
Oh, he was a douchebag, but
Oh, he was a douchebag.
for different reasons.
Yeah.
yes, he was like throughout the whole story. You can see he doesn't even really care about Julie. Like as soon
No,
as
he just wants the
cares
trophy.
about popularity.
Yeah, he just wants the trophy. He wants his trophy back. She's a trophy to him.
yeah.
That's it.
Winning.
She's a trophy, and he's now without his trophy, and he needs his trophy back. He doesn't give a shit about her. He's not.
Well,
I don't even think he was all that jealous. It was just,
Julie ends up showing.
he didn't really want her, but he didn't want anyone else to have her either.
Julie ends up showing up in the bathroom, and he drops over from the shower stall, and he's like, "Don't be afraid, or nervous, or whatever." And he's like, "Do you want to get out of here?"
Well, first she says, what are you doing back here? You have a death wish, and so that's what Fred said, and she goes, "What?" And he goes, "Never mind."
Yeah, and I was also left wondering why, if that was Stacy's house and Tommy started to beat someone up, why didn't she kick him out for starting violence?
Because that's
there?
her friend. Because he's her friend.
And as
Remember,
far as anyone is
they're all in
concerned,
the same little clique. I mean,
and as far as any of her friends are concerned, Tommy owns her.
yep.
Basically. I mean, that's how it was back then, and then in the 80s. If you
Yeah,
were a toxic boyfriend,
I mean, Lauren was the
girlfriend?
only one who wasn't quite feeling that way. She just didn't really. She wanted to speak up about it, you could tell, but she didn't. Because she obviously still had feelings for Tommy, but she just kept it quiet. But
yeah, he was a dude that didn't take rejection well either. So
no, not at all.
He just always thought that they were going to be together.
Yeah, he could do what the fuck he wants. He can treat her like crap, and she's just gonna take it and be there.
Yep. Some guys just think that girls are arm candy, and they're there for you to get ahead in life, and that's how she felt like she was treated, and she felt like she needed more, and that's how many chicks think they want to be respected, and this guy was not respecting her. So
definitely not.
But she goads her friend, actually walks her friend out against her will, makes her get in the car.
Well, not 100% against her will. I mean, I'm sure she could have physically turned around and not gone, but
yeah, but she was.
She coerced her. She coerced her strongly.
Yes, she strong armed her.
I was going to say strong
to
armed.
come along with her, basically. And though she resisted, you could tell she was somewhat adventurous, somewhat. But they ended up driving along, I guess, the underbelly of Hollywood, and I thought this was an interesting thing because you saw several marquees along the way that said Richard Gere and Deborah Winger in a movie. on one side, and then
Officer and a
saw
Gentleman.
the Wizard of Oz, and
The
Oh
Wizard
yeah.
of Oz was later. But yeah, Officer and Gentleman. They had a lot of movies. Yeah, Wizard of Oz was during the montage later when they're kissing and going on dates and stuff.
this was on the same drive though.
Right, but they didn't show the Wizard of Oz to the first drive. It was in the second time in the montage.
And then on the other bill next to the Wizard of Oz was
Again, that's
Rocky Horror
later
Picture
on.
Show. But in any case, they while they are driving through this underbelly, Nicolas Cage seems to be shouting out to certain people that are in this punk scene of people that like he shouts out to one guy, "Hey, I thought you were going to get this mohawk." Yeah, I chickened out, and
He admitted it at least.
um, they end up going to
Cops
this.
in the corner. I was ignoring somebody's getting paid.
They end up going to this seedy dive looking place that looks like you know it has bodyguards, and it has a. I actually like the music that was playing during it.
Me too.
And see, there's not that much different from the punk scene than the goth scene in my mind. There's not.
There was no
really-
such thing as the goth scene in the 80s.
Well, there was, because Tammy remembers the goth scene.
It wasn't really gothic at that time.
Wasn't no goth scene in the East Coast.
It was more like the punk. It was more like a punk scene, and your punk metal hair band,
Right.
dance.
But I remember you telling me about the Sanctuary, and
I went to the Sanctuary when I was living here.
That wasn't in the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely did not go
Goth
to
came out in the
80s.
Goth was a 90s thing.
Yeah, emo and the goth.
I didn't like emo, but I liked goth.
But I believe that it started in the punk scene.
But it didn't, because they're nothing alike. Trust me, I know these, and I grew up in these. I was a teenager in those times.
Well, I guess we're going to have a difference of opinion when it comes to that. So
It's a fact.
It's. I'm
Not
sorry,
opinion.
but the
It's a fact.
hairstyles that I see in gothic culture look like the exact same.
Oh, I guess
hairstyles
because sometimes
from
punks wear
from the
black
punk
and
scenery.
so don't goths, so they're exactly the same. So they wear black. I'm wearing black. Oh, black. I must be a punk and a goth. Oh my god.
But
Squad.
You're wearing black. You must be a goth and a punk.
I believe it's at this moment where they are enjoying this band. They're dancing, and then I believe the friend starts to get all concerned that she needs to get home, and they don't show what happens to her, but Julie gets dropped off at home.
No.
Sunrise.
No. They both. You missed the whole scene where they went out in the car and they were all
Oh yeah, that's
kissing
right.
each other, and like he even kissed her, like the friend kissed her, and like she kind of like moved back, and then he finally got her, and then she kind of kissed him back. So he got a little action, and that's why I thought maybe they might get together, like she might chill out, but no, she's just remained a bitch, frozen bitch.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
you can't really take the Valley Girl out of that chick.
Yeah,
Even
he
though
tried like hell. Good effort. A for effort.
she really was concerned about her curfew, about getting home. So
I doubt it. She never wanted to be there in the first place.
correct.
Yeah. So I think it was just an excuse, but the whole, they were kissing and they were all basically making out and
Yeah,
she was having
but
fun
Fred
with
was
him.
being all weird
And
too.
then she's like banging out the window because it was actually in the car scene where she bangs the window and says, I get to get home, my curfew. And
If Fred hadn't have been all weird on her though, he might have actually gotten a little bit more action because he was being a little weird.
he was being weird, but she started to break down with him and enjoy it. You could tell
I
she was like the way she was running away, like she was running away, but not really running away. You know what I mean? Like she was like playing.
Teasingly.
She was playing. She was playing with him. It was just playing hard to get, basically. But she wasn't completely hard to get at that point. She did. He did get some kissing and stuff, but maybe she didn't like the kissing, and that's why she wanted to go home. I don't know. 'Cause he did get the kiss though.
Well, in any case, I
But
guess
we don't know what happened to what happened to Fred either, because it was just him that dropped Julie off in the morning. Because
correct
I
in the same
mean,
fucking car, which
right,
evidently
right.
was a friend's mother's car. So
Friend's
whatever.
mother's car, and we don't know what the hell happened to Fred. They kind of don't explain that, but just
Yeah,
know that she's being dropped off at, I guess, 5 or 6 in the morning because it's pretty
and
light
her
out. So
parents are a whole nother
And
deal.
didn't her father kind of remind you of Sonny, like from
Oh,
Sonny and
from Sonny
Cher?
and Cher, yeah.
a little bit. I love when when he's talking to the friend. He talks to the friend, and he looks at it and goes, "Oh, if I was 20 years younger," and his daughter's like, "Dad."
Yeah,
He
we do
looked
have
so
to
much like
mention.
Sonny. It was just it acted like him. I was just like, oh my god.
We
It
do have we do
does.
have to
Father's a
mention
trip.
parents.
The
They
parents were
own a health
parents were a
food.
trip.
They own a health food restaurant.
Hippies. They're friggin' hippies.
It's not just a store; it's a restaurant.
I know, and they're hippies.
But
I say it was
yeah,
more of a
in
restaurant than
fact,
a store to me.
they're
But
evidently waiting for her to get home. Although to me, before she left for the night, it seemed like they were actually going to get it on, themselves. Like they
well,
were
they
glad
might
that
have
their
before they
daughter was going
started
out.
worrying. I mean, they had plenty of hours to get it on. We just didn't see it.
And her mother was on the floor, like with her legs up in the air when she
Sounds like
was
a good
talking
time.
to her. I thought that was kind of funny.
Sounds like a good time.
I don't know. I think she was doing yoga or some shit.
Yeah, she's doing some kind of yoga.
But they try to have the talk with her, and she kind of like blows it off, and then
She didn't really do anything.
well, she didn't, but her parents thought she did, and all that jazz. So they were trying to have that parental talk to her, even though they were seemed like they were like one of the coolest parents ever.
Yeah.
I
And then
I
and
don't
then she
think
get,
they
and
were.
then
Uh,
and then she's like, "Oh, I wish you guys trusted me like Susie's parents does." So it's kind of like she tells her friends she has the coolest parents, and then she tells her parents that they're not as cool as her friend's parents, who her friend's parents didn't trust her to be out past 1, which 1 I think is pretty fucking late.
You were
well,
saying, Morris?
actually, I do think Julie's parents were the most reasonable characters in the whole movie.
Yeah, and you get this whole moment while she's at the restaurant, and um, Randy shows up, and actually, I think this is kind of actually cool, because they do this like cool handshake or whatnot. Her father and him, like he accepts him like right away. You know?
Well, that's
Mm,
because the father is very open-minded.
Oh
He,
yeah,
when he
totally.
shows her later on, he shows her pictures of what he used to look like, and that he was a hippie, and he said that he wasn't always accepted, and neither were his friends because of how
yeah.
they look and how they acted. So he's relating with Randy about being different, you know.
But
And I
he's
actually
not
think that
against the other guy either. He totally, tells his daughter that it's up to her to decide, which of the two guys she wants to be with. But she's just trying to tell her, don't let your friends decide it for you, um,
Right.
because
But
you
he's
need to
letting her know
choose
that
what
it's
you want.
okay that, no matter which one,
I
that it's
can't believe
okay to
she
be
went.
different.
She decided to go back with him and
Uh,
do what their friend
on
said. I mean, I was expecting
right.
after that talk that she would have gone back to Randy, and then she like basically gets back with him, and she hadn't even told Randy yet. Randy
Maybe
shows up, and she's like acts all pissed off because he just shows up, and he's like, so like, dude, you just started going out with someone else and didn't even tell him. Like that's fucked up.
maybe I would have understood it somewhat if Tommy had actually been trying to be a better person, but no, he was
Oh, I
just the
agree.
same
And
asshole.
again, it is realistic though, because girls would do something like that. It doesn't
and
make sense,
guys would do
but
something like he did, you know? It
gir-
was
it doesn't make sense. But it was the peer pressure. You know, it was their image. That was more important than her relationship. At that moment, she finally realizes at the end. But
yeah, as far as her friends
hindsight's
were
2020.
concerned, they all probably thought that she was just going to get back together with Tommy again because
Yeah,
that was what
they
was
assumed that this
expected.
guy was
I
just a
I
silly
think
fling and she'd be over it.
I think no image should ever be more important than
Oh,
being
I
true to
agree.
yourself and to
But
what you want.
we're talking about teenagers, and in the '80s,
Mm.
this is a different time period. Image was
There was
everything
a
in high
whole
school.
different thought
Image
process,
was everything in high
especially in
school.
certain cliques, especially in high school. In
Yep.
high school, relationships aren't serious. They
They're not
really
supposed
aren't.
to be. They're not supposed to
I
be.
mean, they're not supposed to be, but there are those who actually find their high school sweethearts.
Oh yeah.
But
Not
to me,
me,
it's
but
rare.
I did for a while.
but
Well,
Oh,
we know it wasn't Dave.
yeah,
No,
ouch.
my high school sweetheart looked like Axl Rose
Was he an asshole too?
at times. At times, we went out for 3 years.
Axel Rose, asshole Rose.
I'm actually the longest she's ever been with anyone. So
I mean, you've
Oh.
been together for 14 years. I would hope so. She's not that old.
Yeah, well, you know the band Guns N' Roses, right, Philippe?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what Joe looked like. Joe looked like Axl Rose.
Yes,
Oh.
what the hell are you doing with Dave? Just kidding. Definitely a different look. No wonder your mother was like surprised.
You should have seen my friend my
Oh,
boyfriend that did.
was that the dude that didn't want to go to that band and then you got backstage
Yep,
passes?
yep.
Yeah, I remember you telling. Okay,
yeah,
so he did kind of act like an ass, like Axl Rose.
Yeah, he acted like an ass at times. Why do you think I broke up with him?
Well, any guy can act like an ass at times. Even I can.
Oh. Even
The
I
biggest mistake I
probably.
made though is I did break up with him, and the biggest mistake I made was I gave him another chance 2 years later. Shame on me on that one.
2 years later? Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, well, they say shame on you know, shame on me once, shame on you twice, whatever, however that
Yeah,
goes.
how
But
do they say it?
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
fool me
yep,
Uh,
3 times, shame on both of us.
Well, there was never a third time. I repeated that little thing we just said to him when I broke up with him the
I
second
mean,
time,
I probably
and I
went
said
back
there
with
will never be a third.
I probably went back with my first ex about 50 times, but that was with like a day or 2 days or a week, so or an hour or a half an hour or 5 minutes.
He was the one pursuing me to get us back together.
Oh, of course, women never pursue the guy. Well, I mean, unless they're psycho.
Yeah, it's never the other way around in my mind, except for certain women. Because I've known a few psychos in my life.
Oh.
But in any case, let us
Yeah,
get
I
back
would
to the
definitely
story.
never chase after you if you left.
Oh.
Touche.
Burn.
But remember Lori? Yeah.
Yes.
I
But
remember I did.
enough said.
I'm sorry, what?
I told her, remember Lori? Enough said. That's a whole nother ball. But yeah. In any case,
Yeah, well, you remember Jim?
Are we talking about
oh,
not Lori in the movie?
No, he had a little thing that was still trying to hang on to him until she talked to me. That ended that. And then before my boyfriend before him was going psycho to the point where I even had the cops involved.
Oh.
And my friend threatened to blow up his car in his place if he didn't leave me alone.
but let's get back to the movie. So, as far as we know, we Tommy gets back together with her. They start making plans about going to prom. Meanwhile,
Junior prom.
Nicholas Cage's character Randy, he gets drunk. He ends up having a fling from the bar that he took them to. Evidently, she's
His
met
ex.
him before. I guess he's the ex. Yes.
Yep. So they
And
both went with it back to their exes.
he doesn't feel good about that. In fact, when he gets like out into the alleyway, his friend Fred, he's the one.
Well, don't forget him. Getting that gangbanger to get out of the car and almost get himself killed.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He tried to piss off them dudes, which I think they he had actually said hello to them on that drive through the underbelly of Hollywood. So, or something
I
like that.
remember he was acting like he wanted to fight them. Now he's like, get
Yep.
out of the car, and he got out, and
Well, he was drunk then when he was.
Oh yeah, his friend pulled him away, and he's like, "What are you doing? They're known to kill you." He's like, "I don't care."
And that's when his friend decided to actually help him for all his idiosyncrasies. He was like, "Hey, dude, instead of moping around, why don't you do something wild, man? Chicks love that shit." So
he did good.
ends up being a montage of shit that he does.
Jumps in the car with her and with her friends, and says, are you being held against your will? Just tell me." I love that part. And she's like, "Yeah." And then the song.
I like how he showed up at the movie theater and was taking the tickets, and he showed up.
He's taking the tickets to the movie theater, and then he's fucking bringing
restaurant.
them food at the drive-in place to get food, and he's like showing up everywhere. It's funny.
Hey, you forgot our soda. Peter Piper picked a peck of pimple peppers. I guess I did.
She's laughing. She's laughing the whole time.
Then he camps out on her lawn.
Yeah.
I like the song. The song I thought was the sweetest. The radio. You dedicated a song to her on the radio.
Yeah.
I've done
Did you
that
ever
before.
do stupid shit like that?
I've done that.
I've done that.
Oh, put a song on the radio for a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Oh.
But have you ever done standing on the lawn holding a boombox blasting a romantic song? Like it say
No.
anything. Me neither.
No.
Oh, I came close. It wasn't a boom. It wasn't a big boombox, but it was a radio.
I've serenaded before.
Cyrano de Bergerac.
Well, those of us who have a singing voice.
Hey, I've serenaded many times. You don't have to have a good singing voice. And they never says you have to.
No,
You have to be
don't have
good.
to have
You
a
have to be
singing
good at it.
You don't have to be good at it because sometimes at times looking like a fool it will get the chick digging.
Exactly.
So.
It's the fact that you tried. It's the fact that you're willing to make yourself look like a fool.
In fact, the more foolish things you do in front of a chick, the more oftentimes they'll dig you. So
right.
So have you done anything weird to get a girl, Boris?
Maybe in middle school, I was just goofing around, but no one really found it interesting.
well, who's to say that you can't like find someone like close to your age at any time. You just have to get yourself out there. Unfortunately, it is kind of a hard thing to do when everybody knows you. But if you want a relationship, I think that you'll probably go out and get one if you want one. But
That makes sense, yeah.
I mean, you have to be able to go out there on your own and apply yourself if you want a relationship. Unfortunately, if you're looking for one, it's hard in this day and age. So
Yeah, I wasn't looking for one. It just sort of happened.
oh, so I ended up getting wet for no reason, right?
I wasn't looking for one. When she said she wanted me to meet her friend, I wasn't thinking anything of meeting her friend. I didn't think anything of it. I wasn't, I really wasn't. And then you keep walking into the bar soaking wet from the rain, and I was like, oh, he's kind of cute. He's all wet.
Yeah, I think I was wearing a Scully shirt or some shit.
And
But
he was really
Nerd.
cute and everything until I found out that I was 12 years older. Then
Nerds
I
don't
wasn't
wear
sure how
Scully
cute he
shirts.
was. After I realized I was 12 years older, I wasn't quite sure how cute he was anymore.
But yeah, after he does that whole montage of things, she still rejects him. But prom is coming up, so his friend still has a plan of getting them to prom, and then I guess we don't even realize what the plan is. All we know is that they.
I don't think he actually had a plan.
No, I don't think so.
The plan was just to go there and get him there, and then hit the other, because he basically said that to him. Well, this is the plan. But then I guess they realized that they could go backstage when they were calling the king and queen and do what they did. So yeah.
Yep. And you do get a kind of a small dance, and I saw the dude spiking the drink, and I was like, "There's always someone who needs to spike the drink. That's always something that happens." I kept thinking back to the Future moment when Biff and his friends were like spiking the punch and stuff like that. So.
But this was a junior prom. Senior prom, I think it happens more than junior prom. I don't think it usually happens as much as junior prom. I don't know. I never went to either, so I don't really know. I just don't think it happens as much as junior.
but yeah, and I do believe that the lady who got up to talk about the prom, I thought that was kind of interesting because she went
I
into a whole sob
want
story.
pumpkin.
She went into a whole sob story about how she always thought that she should have been prom queen.
No, she said she always wanted to be one. She didn't say she thought she did. She knew she was a nerd. She wasn't going to be one.
And meanwhile, while that was going on, Tommy and Randy end up picking a fight with each other, and
Well, he pulls him. You know, he taps him on the shoulder, and he's like, "I'm giving you a chance you never gave me," because you know he like let him know he's going to hit him. You know, before he hits him, because you know, unlike you know, he would just got sucker punched.
That fight Spudau.
I was going to say, but ow.
More like a series of Spudaus. Spudau.
well, and they end up going through the crowd, and then I guess Tommy ends up trying to go after them, and I guess he gets knocked down again, and then they end up going. Do they have a dance? I don't think they have a dance. They end up going outside the school, and, or running outside the school, and they follow. I believe, right?
They ran outside the school and jumped in the limo and took off.
Yeah.
Now what I don't get is the limo driver was standing and they opened the door for them. Didn't he know that wasn't the same guy? I mean, he might have recognized the girl, but that definitely was not the guy that hired him. And
I don't think he cared.
But he even said like, but he's got a job to do, and he's supposed to bring the guy to the hotel. You know, he's the one paying him. So like,
yeah, but I think he was cool. I think he realized what was up, and he was for
well,
them.
he didn't get paid. He didn't get paid. He wouldn't get paid for the job, and probably would get fired. So that was definitely something stupid on his part.
Yeah, well, it's a movie.
I mean,
Hollywood.
for the movie's sake, I'm glad he took them. You know, because that was cool. But from the sake of like a reality thing, like you can't just pick someone. I mean, maybe the same girl, but the girl wasn't paying for it. The guy was. So you know, why would I mean, you know, that's just like I said, didn't make sense to me.
It made sense at the time, and
How did it make sense?
It made sense because he took he saw the girl.
Right, but the guy's paying for him, and it's not the same guy.
Why because if you looked at the limo driver, he looked like he was a cool guy and caught on to what was going on. And he wasn't.
Well, he won't get paid.
He wasn't some stick in the mud that was worried about getting paid.
I'm not a stick in the mud either, but when I was a cab driver, I worried about getting paid because I need to pay my bills. Well, so I get a job.
He was more worried about being cool than getting paid.
Well, that's stupid. That's how you get fired.
If
or
it was
pay,
a limo
or have to pay for it in your own pocket.
If it was a limo, and
it wasn't a limo, it was a big car. It was a large car.
Regardless, I can tell you that when it is cars like that, they call it a limo.
No.
Yes, they do.
Not here, not around here. They don't.
Cars like that, limo services.
They call it a sedan because that's what it is.
Well,
False
called,
advertising. It's a
I
false
call,
advertisement if you call it a limo, and it's not. You get sued for that. Dude, I was a cab driver and had many friends that went to driving limos and stuff. Trust me, I know all about it. I drove for
well,
15 years.
I would still call it a
I,
limo myself.
I don't care what you'd call it. You honestly don't care about reality or truth, so you're gonna call it whatever you want to. But the truth is, it's not a limo.
Fine, it's not a limo; it's a sedan, but it is a service that
Just
is
because
provided.
they have a driver, that doesn't mean it's a fucking limo. You could have a driver in a Volkswagen buggy. Not gonna call that a limo, are you?
I was thinking that the limo would already, or the car that was provided would already be paid because it's not a taxi service; it's a service. Limos are
Taxis you
different.
pay.
They provide a
Taxis you
car.
pay up front. Taxis you pay up front for when you're
Well,
going out of
these
town and
days
stuff.
you do, days, of course, you always pay up front at least something, but the meter runs.
The
So
meter is for in town
uh,
and one
you
town
know,
and one town over. Again,
uh,
I was a cab driver.
I know, I get it. So
uh, you know what didn't make sense to me though.
what?
Like before the prom, Randy was trying this and that to win Julie back, and she was like, she didn't care, and then he ruins her prom, and she suddenly accepts him. How?
Because he was breaking through to her. She really wanted to be with him in the first place. She was doing it because of her friends. Finally, she realized, you know what? I'm having a horrible time with this guy. Like he kept trying to kiss her. She kept pulling away. She didn't want to be there with him. And she sees Randy there, and she probably was happy. And then they're fighting over her, which, whether you say it or not, a girl's gonna get happy if you're fighting over her. And
Yeah.
and Randy won too, and just grabbed her and they went up on stage. So she got caught up in the whole thing, like you know what, this is what I wanted in the first place. Randy's taking charge, and really wants to be back. I'm gonna go with it. Like she's finally giving in to her feelings instead of giving two shits what her friends say.
Oh,
Mm,
o- okay, yeah, that does make more sense.
yep. Ultimately, it came down to that she wasn't really liking where everything was going anyways, and things were better off with
Yeah,
Randy.
she never wanted to go back with him. She just did it because of her friends, and
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think we are at.
and he got a hotel thinking he's gonna get laid. Bitch couldn't even get a kiss.
Well, yeah, because he was like, what about what about the final night? She was like, deal with it, you know,
Yeah.
because he thought he was gonna get some, so, and it wasn't even senior prom. So, anyways,
No,
they
but I kept pointing out it was junior prom.
were acting like it was senior prom. Though.
Right.
In fact,
I
the
kind of
whole
for
prom sequence, they made it seem like it was like
I know.
a
King
big
and Queen I thought was only senior as well, so kind of like what?
thing. The other
I
thing that should probably be mentioned is wasn't any of the friends weren't any of them being accepted into college or something like that?
I never said anything about college. None of them.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was a thing in this movie or
No, they're all
okay,
no, because they're all juniors. That's a senior thing.
gotcha. Alrighty. Well, at the end of everything, what did y'all think about production? Starting with you, Boris. Why don't what did you think about the production?
Well, I believe the production was good as far as the storyline requires. Like, it's a story that takes place no CGI was needed or anything like that. So I would say, as much as they needed to do, they did it well enough. Mm, so yeah, I guess it was good.
Okay. What about you, Kroll or Flock of Seagulls haircut?
Okay, I have one major complaint on the very beginning. The camera work was so fucking shoddy. Like the way they were showing the Hollywood Hills. It was just like some dude holding the camera and he got like he had shakes or something. Like what the fuck, dude? You know, like keep the camera still. It was horrible the way they were panning over the hills. Other than that, the rest of the movie looked decent, like you said. I mean, all the I thought the way they shot the strips and you know the way they showed all the movies playing and everything. I thought that was really cool. Really made you feel like you were looking at 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 the area, and you probably were. I mean, they probably filmed it there. I'm assuming. So yeah, the rest was all good. Just that very beginning, the camera work was so fucking horrible. Um, back then in the 80s, though, very popular. Coke was very popular, so, who knows? The cameraman might have been hopped up on some Coke, whatever. uh, uh, wasn't just the stars that did drugs. But I don't know. Other than that, yeah, it was. I mean, it's a romantic comedy, so I mean, there's not much production. There wasn't. I mean, the costumes looked okay, but I mean, that was mostly everyday wear for like the Valley Girl type people and the rest. So I mean, it all fit. It all looked pretty much exactly how it should have because it was that day and age. So there wasn't really any costumes. There were just outfits. So yeah, pretty much all I got to say about it.
Okay. Heading over to you, Tammy. What did you think about the production of this movie?
I thought it was decent. I mean, it it did reflect a lot of things in the 80s, a lot of the look and the places and everything, like Kroll said about, the marquees saying all the different movie theaters, movies that were going on at the theaters were like from that time. And um we had said earlier about like all the bangle bracelets and things like that. That was all definitely stuff from then. And the most of the music that was played had to do with the 80s, I believe.
All the
So
music was because it was done in the 80s.
Yep. Everywhere at Once was performed by the Plimsouls. A Million Miles Away, the Plimsouls. Oldest Story in the World, the Plimsouls. He Could Be the One, performed by Josie
I enjoyed the music.
Cotton. Johnny, Are You Queer, by Josie Cotton. School Is In, by Josie Cotton. The Fanatic, performed by Felony. Girls Like Me, performed by Bonnie Hayes and the Wild Combo. Shelley's Boyfriend, performed by
I
Bonnie
thought the world and melt with you.
Hayes. Eyes of a Stranger, performed by Paolas. Electric Avenue, performed by Eddie Grant. Eaten by the Monster of Love, performed by the Sparks. Love My Way, performed by the Psychedelic Furs. Who Can It Be Now, performed by Men at Work. Angst in My Pants, performed by the Sparks. Jukebox, performed by the Flirts. I Melt With You, performed by Modern English. I La 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 Love You, performed by Pat Travers. She Talks in Stereo, performed by Gary Merrick and the Figures. And Time to Win, performed by Gary Merrick. So that is all the music on the soundtrack. Um, I know that Electric Avenue song, but I did kind of get a kick out of the one that was called um, Eaten by the Love Monster, by the Monster of Love. I thought that was an interesting title. What did you think about the music to this particular film, Tammy?
I thought it was pretty good. You know, I knew a few of the songs. I didn't know some of the other ones. I mean, but they fit with the movie. I just didn't know all of them. You know, but they were the songs were decent. They seemed to fit the time.
Okay. What about you, Boris? What did you think about the music?
I don't think the music was good. It's all really very 80s, and I do like quite a bit of the 80s music. So, yeah, I also knew some of the songs from this one, not all of them, but yeah, it was good.
Okay. Um, I dug the music. Um, I thought it went well with the film. Far as anything, it was definitely very 80s. And as far as production goes, I did like the clash of culture. Um, the uh, the way that they showed the world of the Valley Girls and the world of
Reminded me of 30 again. Not
which
30 again. I mean, what was it
13 going
30?
on 30.
Yeah, 13 going on 30. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, remind me of that movie.
I could see that. I could see that. But yeah, or like Romeo and Juliet, or something of that nature.
Not
Because
even close to Romeo and Juliet.
they were from different
They weren't
families.
from warring war families though. Warring families.
I still think it's a
Whatever.
little close. But
Okay, every single love story has to do with Romeo and Juliet. Okay, done. All right, covered.
every single love story,
Oh
just those
yes, they all do
that
because they all do
flashy.
love, and there's love in Romeo and Juliet. So clearly, they're all the same. See, I
But
can be ridiculous too.
I'm not being ridiculous. I
Uh-huh.
think it's similar in the fact that they come from different areas of
Like
life.
9% of every other movie.
I wouldn't say 90% of every other movie, because you don't always have two different cultures. Uh, but it
No,
is.
9% of the time. I didn't say 100.
But let us go into favorite scenes and favorite
Before we
characters.
do that, I'll tell you what I think about the music since
Oh, go ahead.
I did.
Oops.
Yeah, I enjoyed the music, and obviously, as I was singing, I'll start the world out with you. I love that song, always have, and I really like they actually played the song twice. They should play it in the movie, and then it's also in the end credits as well. So
You know what's
uh,
funny?
get a
Tammy
double
thought
dose of.
Melt the World was by Flock of Seagulls.
I can see that, but no, it isn't. Um, Yeah, I mean it happens. Sometimes we forget or we think it's another band. Or, I mean, I've done it, and then I kick myself going, why did I think that? You know, um, especially when it's like a hair band type thing. But it happens. I mean, we get older, we forget shit, and we're like, don't like.
A lot of the bands
um,
sounded that kind of music sounded the same at the time.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes some of the hair bands music sounds alike, and I mean, not then as much. I mean, I felt like it didn't. I could notice the difference more then and then later on, just because the sheer number of music and songs that I know now compared to then, but that's all I knew. So I knew the stuff so well that the little size difference, you could tell it was a different band. But to someone who wasn't used to listening to it, I could see how it sounded more like, in my opinion, like it was always like if I was listening to music, my mom was always like, "Is that Bon Jovi or Motley Crue?" Like that's the two bands she knew, and that was it. Which are my two favorite bands, but I listened to way more than that. You know,
Alrighty.
Iron
Um,
Maiden, for instance. But,
since we got you here on the spot, why don't we go into your favorite scene and favorite character, if you will?
well, it is definitely Randy. Um, the main chick, she's okay. She's kind of, I don't know, kind of the basic uh, girl, I mean, and Valley girl, and I mean, she does finally smarten up. Unlike some women, they never smarten up, but or not until much later. So at least good for her. She smartened up when she was young. um, but yeah, I mean, but yeah, Randy, I really liked him. Relatable. He talked like me, Fuck off, fuck you, fuck them. That's me. That was definitely me then. Not as much. I don't swear quite as much as I used to, but still do. Um, yeah, so I really like him, and favorite scene is, like I said, it's him walking into the party with that hairdo because I just cracked up laughing because it was a fuck the Seagull's haircut. I mean he doesn't really have it in the rest of the movie, but that first scene he does. And that or that scene in the first scene in the party, he's got it, and it's kind of funny, and I do have to mention Lauren's hits were up there too. Um, and the scene when the mother walks in on the guy she was hitting on and her daughter, and
Oh,
I thought he was sleeping with the mother,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, so that kind of threw me for a loop. Be like, oh, he was fucking the daughter, not the mother. Okay.
Uh, Actually, good thing you reminded me of that. That was something. Okay, sorry for interrupting.
It's
that
all
was
good.
Susie.
Yeah, I know.
Uh, but that was something I wanted to mention. Like, what was the point of the scene when the mother was hitting on him and then nothing
Well,
about that
I think it
happened?
threw you
the
off.
mother was really lonely.
I think it threw you off, and I think she wanted to have sex with him then, like she didn't want to do it later.
Why
But
do
he
you
was,
think she
but he
wanted him to deliver food to him?
right, but he was
Uh,
he was working, so
No, what was the point of that scene when she was
we're
hitting on
telling you
him and
because she was horny. She wanted to fuck him.
yeah, but I mean, it didn't make any impact on the plot. There was not one scene about
It
that,
may
and
not
then
be it may not be an impact, but it was pretty fucking cool.
Hey,
I wanted to see the mother naked. I was disappointed I didn't.
uh, yeah, well, since they made that scene, they should have given us more about that.
I
there were
agree, but
movies in the 80s.
I don't. Yeah,
There were movies in the 80s, like The Graduate is another one where an older woman lusts after a younger man.
No, don't get me wrong. I don't mind the fact that she lasted after him. What I have a problem with is that they made only one scene about that and then nothing. Like it never happened. Like
Well,
yeah.
she
I
was
thought
expecting.
I thought he was gonna sleep with the mother and the daughter was gonna walk in or something,
Yeah, I thought so.
yeah,
and they flipped it around.
uh, yeah. Like it felt
and then and then
unfinished. Like
then they didn't go back to that, or and they
yeah.
and again, and we don't see him again. So they
No,
kind of left that open. Like, what the hell happened?
Uh,
Like,
uh,
I mean, I don't think
ex-
she joined in with her daughter.
You get a
Yeah,
moment.
it felt.
That's only in porn movies.
You get a moment at the prom where Lauren was like, "What were you doing? Getting laid?" Susie or whatever. But that's about it, because evidently that's what had happened anyway. Ways, but the whole point of that whole relationship was the fact that the mother lusted after the dude. He came by. It was perfect opportunity for him to go come and fuck her, or at least try to. It didn't happen, so he left, and then she comes home, and you
Well,
get this moment where
no. First,
the kid Chip,
he calls the house,
yeah,
and the daughter wants him to come over, but he finds out the mother's not home, and he's on a date, so he's all disappointed. So he's like, "Oh, I can't come over." Made up some story because he wants to come over to see the mother, and the mother's on a date, so he's upset that she's on a date. And then of course we see him go to the house, and we think he's gonna get with the mother, but it
yeah,
turns out the
because they
daughter.
don't exactly show who's in the showering.
Well,
You know?
we just see a hot body, which I just sworn was the mother, but I guess it wasn't. So, yeah, she had a hot body too. I love how he just walks in, and I don't know if he got into the shower with her or what, but like, didn't they freak out like, oh, you just walked in and I'm in the shower, like, just like.
No, they were in the bed.
How can it happen these days? You know.
They were in the bed. And
No, she was in the shower when he walked in the house, and he just walked in to the house, and then he walked up the stairs, and he walked in the room, and he saw someone at the shower, and he looked in the bathroom, and he saw her standing there, and eventually, obviously, she must have come out, or he joined her, or one or the other, and then they got naked and had sex, but they didn't say like what the hell happened when she saw him there, like, you know.
no, all we saw was them two getting naked in bed, and then
That was after.
I
I'm
know.
saying they skipped that part, you know, like that's just like kind of like what the fuck, like dude just walks into the house, and that was definitely not something. I don't know if it was a California thing, but definitely not a thing in the East Coast. You fucking walk into someone's house like that, you might get shot.
No, you knock or you ring a doorbell
Well,
or
he did ring the doorbell, but they didn't answer. He should have just left. Like, I mean, then we wouldn't have gotten the funny scene, but still.
well, he was expecting to get some nookie, so
Right, but the girl wasn't.
well, yeah, I think he was expecting to get it with the mom, and I'm not sure if he ever really knew it was the mom to begin with, because they don't really show that part. But
That'd be funny if you thought it was the mom and then it was the daughter, and he was just like, oh well, and fucks her anyways.
But yeah, going into favorite scenes and favorite characters. How about you, Boris?
My favorite character would probably also be Randy because he is straightforward, doesn't give up easily. Although a second second close second favorite would be Julie's parents because, like I said before,
Oh, they were a trip.
but
Yeah, they were cool.
what? What did you say?
I said they were cool. Now the mother only looked like she was barely older than her daughter. Like her mother
Yeah.
did not look
Yeah.
enough to be her mother. Even with the
It
glasses
did.
on, it made her look slightly older, but definitely felt like he was robbed. The father had robbed the cradle. So, probably not. She just looks younger than she was, but yeah.
And my favorite scene would probably be when Randy told Julie to fuck off when she said they couldn't see each other anymore. When he immediately figured out what it was about, and he was so brutally honest and straightforward and just told her to fuck off. I just loved it because she totally had it coming.
Yeah. Do you blame him for having that fling afterwards?
No, I've said those exact
Sorry,
words to girls before.
sorry, I
Fuck
had a
off,
glitch. What
fuck
did you
off, fuck
say? Do you
you.
blame him for
Having that fling.
fling? Sorry, what does that mean?
Um, a fling oftentimes means when a man has an illustrious relationship that has something to do with taking your clothes off and having bourgeois sex with or promiscuous sex with an unnamed lady.
So are you wearing this, reading this from Wiki?
And he had sex with that other woman.
That is exactly true, but okay.
Uh,
Well, they didn't show him having sex with her. They showed him doing stuff, kissing, and her top was off. But other than that,
well, I don't
Oh,
judge him, but I wouldn't do that myself because
they had him silhouette
STDs and
at
stuff.
wedding, and she was getting
I
banged
wouldn't judge him because I've done the same
at
thing.
the door. So
I had a fling when I broke up
Mm.
my ex fiance for a week.
okay,
With my ex girlfriend.
another example of a fling is when a husband is married and decides that he's going to fuck his secretary.
Women cheat more than men, so why are they fucking putting it that it's men? Proven facts.
Normally, a fling is referred to a relationship you have with another woman outside of wedlock.
Or another man, woman, or whatever, because again, women cheat just as much, if not more, than men.
Yeah, they're not entirely innocent.
Highly innocent, like I said, as much
But,
or if not more.
what about you, Tammy? Favorite scene or scenes or favorite character?
I mean,
I
she cheated on Randy.
I think I guess Randy is probably my favorite. My favorite scene is that it's a mixture of scenes. You know, the when he's trying to win her back and he shows up at the movie theater and at the at the restaurant and on her lawn, the whole that whole little thing.
Montage.
Yeah. I that was like my favorite. Um I also liked at the beginning, when he's sitting there in that shower stall and everybody keeps coming in and he keeps doing whatever he's doing and acting goofy in the shower stall and they don't know that he's in there. So, he peeks over to see who's in there and then he acts goofy accordingly as to who's in the bathroom. And we can see it and nobody and they don't know he's there, and he gets all
Yeah, it was King Tom.
it's funny,
Keeping Randy.
So that's it.
All right, and I guess my favorite character I think is Randy, but I do have to I do kind of like his friend too. He's a little bit goofy, but the thing is with Randy's character is he needs that push from his friend. When he gets rejected and shit, in order to like win her back. It wasn't because of anything that he did. It was because of the words that his friends said. That helped him back from that. You know, uh, bout of getting drunk and whatnot and stupidity. But my favorite
Which
scene.
begs the differ. How the fuck did he get drink so much at such a young age? He did say he was in high school too, so he's not older. He's definitely not old enough to drink. But he drank from a bar. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's
And
different here.
you didn't get alcohol when you were in fucking high school? Give me a fucking break. I could.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Oh, you're so full of it. You and I are about
No,
the
I
same
didn't.
age. And you
No, I
never got a
didn't.
hold of any alcohol.
I never touched
uh,
alcohol when I was fucking teenager.
You never went to a party?
Nope.
Oh, well, you are missing out on a lot of shit then.
I ended up at parties where there was alcohol when I was younger. I
But
didn't
again, he
get as
wasn't at
far
a
as you did,
party. He was
Tammy,
at a
where
bar.
you didn't get carded by going into bars.
What I'm saying, he was at a bar, and they all knew him, so they obviously knew he wasn't old enough. Like they could lose their liquor license. Like why would they serve
See,
him alcohol?
I assume that he was definitely beyond high school age. He was older.
No, he said he went to Hollywood High.
He was at a club. The
But
club.
he said he went to Hollywood High, and the friend said he also goes to Hollywood High.
Just because he said he went to Hollywood High.
But see, he was
Oh,
supposed
so you think
to
he was
be.
lying?
He no, it's not that he was lying. He lived in the underbelly of Hollywood. He was
Right, that's the
joking
point.
about the fact that he came from the school of hard knocks.
No, that's not the same fucking thing, dude. Not even close to the
I
same
was
thing.
under the understanding that I think that he said I think he more or less meant that he had went to that high school. I think he was out of high school, yes. But I think the reason he was able to go into the bar and get drinks and stuff is this is supposed to be the underbelly. This is supposed to be the rough area. You know, you know, they bend the rules. This is I'm sorry. I mean, I got into bars. Let's see, and there's a bar around here still that I got into when I was 18, 19 years old, and it's still here. It was just the people that I came in the bar with, and they didn't say anything.
Yep, that's all it takes.
Well, believe me or not, when I was a teenager, I was not drinking alcohol. Believe me or not, because even though I always liked and still like to break rules, I hate the concept of obedience and conformity and crap. But when I was a teenager, fortunately, the whole matter of alcohol was not presented to me like you mustn't do it because it's against the rules. It was presented to me as you shouldn't do it because it's not good for your health. And so I was like, okay, I don't want to do it.
Oh, I guess the thing that I've always been taught is you drink alcohol in certain moderation. I mean, a little bit here and there isn't.
Damn, who the hell taught you that?
A little bit here and there is not going to hurt you, but if you do it excessively, yes.
What
Then
about if you get behind a car and get in the next behind a wheel?
I'm not talking about while you're driving or anything like that. But if you drink and drive, of course, you're gonna
People make stupid
Wow.
decisions when they're drunk.
you're gonna have consequences after that. But if you drink in moderation after you are legal, and you know. Then it's up to you and your responsibility behind it, So
Yeah.
I guess we grew up in different circumstances. So I didn't become an alcoholic, partially because my grandfather was an alcoholic and my mom
Sorry to
was.
hear that.
My mom was totally against anything and everything with alcohol. But I did experience getting drunk. I did experience going to a few parties. But I didn't do it in excess, and I didn't do it at the times that I shouldn't have. While I've had a vehicle, I didn't get a vehicle until I was 25. So
We're ready then. I
Huh?
had one at 18.
Fortunately, because of my disability, my parents never thought that I would be able to drive. So
Oh.
that's just one of those things, you know. But I do drive, and I don't drink and drive. And
Drive me crazy.
I have certain limits that I know that I can get to. When Tammy and I met, I mean, we were doing kind of the karaoke scene, so we
Oh.
would get a
I
good
enjoy
buzz.
karaoke.
We did get a good buzz, you know, going
I
whenever
never
we.
drank.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, I don't.
I sang without alcohol in me, and it's
I mean,
so horrible.
from time to time, I'll grab a bottle of wine when we're doing these podcasts on Tuesday nights, and I'll sip some wine or something like that, or have a beer.
Yeah, we don't usually drink
You
at
and everybody
home.
else.
We don't usually drink at home. And it's usually it's we go out for some reason or go here for some reason, or like if we're at his parents for a thing, and they've got, we'll have a couple drinks or whatever. But
Yep.
yeah,
I think me and Brian are the only ones that don't, or maybe Jacob too, drink on Tuesday nights.
I don't drink to get drunk, and I haven't gotten drunk in a long time. So
I got well.
I don't think Tammy's ever seen me.
According to my ex fiance, I was drunk when we met at the hotel, but I only had a couple glasses, and I really don't think I was drunk. She thought I was drunk, but according to her, I was drunk. But last time I remember being drunk was definitely over a decade ago. Because before that, I hadn't drank in over a decade. So, of course, that was 2 years ago now. So,
When I was 17, my dad took us to Germany, and that was like the first time that I'd actually drank in front of my parents and gotten a little tipsy. Because we were in Budapest, and they had a ton of wine and stuff. I was 17, and in Prague, evidently the age
when
is
in Rome,
the age is ageless for people to drink. It's there is no age limit, you know.
yep,
So
yep.
it was legal for me to drink then. So
I remember gambling on the boat once we hit the Canadian shores, because gambling is any age in Canada, and of course in the U.S. you had to be 18. So as soon as we crossed the Canadian lines, I could go down to the slot machines on the ferry boat.
well, see,
but
I didn't meet my father till I was 12, and we had every other weekend. And then when I got a little older, like I was like 15, 16, when we'd have our weekend, we'd go out. He had friends that owned bars, and we go check out the bands, and we would go dancing. And Dad would let me drink. And he'd point out stupid. He goes, "You get like that, you get no more." I'm like, okay. And he had, when we went, a lot of times he had his camper, and there was quite a few nights that I had one hell of a buzz on, but I wasn't acting stupid. So he'd take me and put me to bed, and I'm just lay there like, oh my god, I'm like buzzed off my ass, but I didn't act stupid, so that was what was cool. But on my 21st birthday, he's the one that fell off the bar steps, and I caught him.
I think the first time I got
Oh, my uncle and aunt took me out when I
I,
was. God,
I think the first time I got drunk, I went to a party out in Muskego. I was with a few friends, and they had vodka, beer, you name it. And I ended up having two big cups of vodka with shots of Red Bull in it, like say yay big. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, I remember we went to Denny's because Denny's actually was open 24 hours at the time. And I remember the world tilting. That was fun, just a little bit. But I never got that drunk again. Not until there was another time. I was with a friend of mine that lived like down the block from me, and we went to this bar. It was called Jazz's, and there was a band that had been there and left like several pitchers of like Miller Lite there, and we had money ourselves. So after drinking those pitchers that they had left there, we ended up drinking a little bit more, and we ended up like dragging our bodies back to his place, which was right across the fucking street, and that was it. So those are the two drunken times that I remember.
So, my first time was when I was 21. My uncle and aunt took me out because they always said they were going to. My mother wanted to take me to bingo, and guess what I chose? They were both heavy drinkers. And they took me out, and I drank them under the table. They were drinking beers. I didn't like beer. I was drinking hard liquor. I was drinking mixed drinks. And we're walking out of the bar. They're stumbling out of the bar, walking sideways, and I'm like, where are we going next? And they're looking at me like home, like Red Dawn, and I was like, aw, I'm still. I only had like 7 drinks. I'm ready to go. So,
Well, I remember going to a party when I was in high school, and I had gone to several parties, but I got really lit at this one, and about an hour before I had to come home, I started slamming Mountain Dew. I get home and my foster parents are like, "Hello," and I'm like, "Hello." And I was home on time. I was home. I had 1 minute to fucking spare because Lon was doing 80 miles down the fucking road to get me home on time. And I got, and my foster parents didn't think anything because I was kind of hyper when I came home, and that wasn't totally uncalled for at the time with me, but I was so buzzed between the alcohol and the Mountain Dew. It's like I got in my room, I lay down in the bed, and I'm like, wow, because everything was like spinning, and like I said, I was drunk, but yet I was buzzed off my ass from the Mountain Dew too. I was
it's the sugar rush.
Oh yeah. And the best thing was, like, about 2 weeks later, their daughter, who was a year younger than me, she came home stumbling, drunk and everything, and she got caught. And later on, she comes to me and she goes, "How I know you've gone to parties. How come you didn't get caught?" And I did. She goes, and I said, "Have you ever seen me come home stumbling, drunk, and falling down, and acting stupid like you did?" She goes, "No." And I said, "That's why you got caught. That's why I didn't."
Exactly.
In my case, believe it or not, I have gotten drunk only once and never again, and it was when I was 18 years old. I had waited that long not because it was illegal earlier, but because before that, of course, there were many moments when people were trying to get me to drink, but when I did try something, like when I had a sip of beer or wine or something, I never liked the taste of it. So I didn't really want to get into that. But then when I was 18, there was that one birthday party where someone made a mixture for me, which I don't really know the English word for, but it's a mixture of wine and Coke. And they gave me that, and it didn't taste
the
so
English
bad.
word is yuck.
Of course, You could also be called a yuck too.
I actually had what's not bad is orange juice and champagne and beer.
Uh, yeah, so when they gave me that and it didn't taste so intolerable, at that point I got curious what it's actually like to get drunk. So I did get drunk that one time, and that evening it was kind of fun, but next morning I didn't like how I felt at all. You
You had
can
a
It's
imagine.
hangover
it,
your first
it's
time
it,
with just a few
Uh,
drinks. Oh my god, I've never had a hangover.
oh, well, yeah,
all
I did. That's why I decided never to do it again. And some people were like, "Yeah, you're saying that now, but you are going to do it again." But
Yeah, I mean a lot
believe
of
me,
people are like that. They're like, oh, I promise when I get over, I'll never do this again. And a week
uh,
later or a couple
I
days later, they're
honestly think
praying
that
to the porcelain god again.
yeah,
people should experience being drunk at least once.
I think everyone should
yeah.
experience being tripping on acid at least once too. But
Uh, uh,
Uh,
I, I experienced being drunk that one time, and I don't need it again. Thank you.
I'd rather trip on acid than being drunk.
Okay, I didn't do that.
I've done that twice.
Um,
Once.
but
Was it LSD 25?
I have never consumed any drugs. I wouldn't even know where to get something like that. It's good that I don't know because I'd rather not deal with such things in my life.
but in any case, at the I think that is
Goody
all
two
that
shoes.
we have. I think that that was a good discussion on Valley Girl. So hopefully you guys in the audience will enjoy our conversations.
In sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Oh yeah, man. But yeah, we went off on a tangent, but hopefully you'll let us know down in the comments what you thought of uh, the discussion, and we'll be back in 2 weeks because I'll be going on vacation in the Dells, and then I think I'll keep
Oh,
the movie
Do
of
you know
the.
what movie you're gonna subject us to?
I will let you know at least in a week. I've got to decide. So,
Roll the
um,
dice, man. Roll the dice.
but like,
please
share,
let's not do it that way again.
and don't
Oh, you
don't
don't like Valley Girl that much? Oh, come on. I mean, it wasn't
don't
that
get
bad.
drunk on our account. So,
Uh, uh, Sorry, I guess it just wasn't my cup of tea, but I was joking. If you want to do
Well,
it
I
by
was.
dice again, do it.
Well, we might do if Dave wants to. Is I was talking. We're talking about possibly having picking an actor and doing movies by that actor. Um, like Dave picks an actor, and then the rest of us all pick a movie with that actor. Obviously we want to have like a big actor, like say Nicolas Cage or Sylvester Stallone or what? Oh, maybe not Stallone because he was Rambo and Rocky. And that's it. No, I'm just kidding. But no, you know what I mean. Just a big star and big, and we could do directors too. But yeah, I'd like to start with like actors. But it's up to
I'm
Dave
that
if he
we
wants to do
may
that. But
do.
I like that.
I'm thinking that we may do the Valley Girl from 2020. Just
I I mean, it's your choice because I personally rather not. I mean, I might watch it, but I personally because we just watched it, and I
I
don't
think
know. But
just watch that on their own. But
yeah, I mean, again, I'm not gonna tell you because it's your choice. I mean, bottom line, it's your choice. Just like I tell Philip, but I'm just saying, if you want my opinion about that, or I'm gonna give it to you whether you want it or not, I don't think we should.
well, I I have a feeling that you may actually like
I'm not
it.
saying I won't like it. I'm just saying, like,
It's
can we
Pringles.
have something else right now? Like, you know what I'm saying? You
We
know,
could,
like,
but then we could get it over and done with, and then we don't have to do it again.
that sounds like a horrible line to a date. Let's just do it and get it over with, and we don't have to do it again.
Let's get it out of our system. Let's, you know, let's just do it once and then see, and then see what happens. You know,
You know, why is virginity? Why is the Pringles like virginity?
what's wrong with a one night stand? I mean, come on.
Why is Pringles like virginity? Once you pop, you can't stop.
But in any case, hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation as much as I have, and we'll see you all in 2 weeks. So everyone say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good day.
Hoot hoot.
I say good day.
Good day.
Guten Abend.